Welcome back, everybody. Right now I have the Revoltech Iron Man Mk armor figure, I guess. So I recently got this. This is my first Revoltech figure, and I always wondered why exactly these things are so damn expensive. I mean, they never go cheaper for maybe $50 online. Even going to conventions, hunting Amazon, these things just do not go cheap. I mean, even when Amazon has those deals and whatnot, okay, I'll talk about that later, but these things are not cheap. And I always assumed, what can be the big deal? The most expensive, figures of about this size are the Black Series Star Wars figures by Hasbro. Those are $20 and those are taller, but in some cases the Black Series figures don't have as much detail as these Revoltech, which is exactly why they can charge $50, $60, sometimes $70 for these figures. In a price to size comparison, it doesn't really seem like a good deal, but when you really look at it, when you play around with it, you see the quality in it. It's basically a Hot Toys figure in a more action figure sized piece. And as you can see here, I have a ruler. In the pose right now, it's just at 6 inches. And even when it's standing fully, I think it's just about 7 inches, because you can see the legs are a little bent right now in the pose. But it's not a very large piece, but once I get into more of the review, you'll see how much detail they actually put into this figure. Before I get into that, let's start off with the packaging. So packaging, it is from I want to say Japanese company, not too sure, don't want to be positive on that. But very simple design. Just has the window box display here where the figure will go right here, and you can see some of the accessories. Like right now I left the Iron Man Mk, I guess the stand or the title piece that goes in there, which is a little bit odd because even on the stand that comes with the figure right here, it doesn't fit into the peg holes. So I guess you're just supposed to display that right in the front. It's not like the Hot Toy stands where they're connected to the figure stand. But as you can see, you can read Marvel up here, Kyoto here, Sci-fi Revoltech, and then on the side here it says the series number 45 and Iron Man Mk, sculpted by Watanabe Yuki. So thank you, Watanabe Yuki. You did a fantastic job on this sculpt. I hope I can find some more by you, or even buy more Revoltech in the future and add to my growing Iron Man collection. Luckily I got this in the trade, so it didn't really cost me too much, just some old figures and shipping. And getting back to the packaging, just all, not too much in English, all in Japanese really. And there you can see an Avengers logo. I guess official movie merchandise, a little odd because this wasn't in the Avengers. And then on the back, it shows all the different posing, the options for the accessories, and it can be a little bit hard to figure out some things because there is nothing in English. There's no separate manual you pull out that shows, half English, half Japanese, half Spanish, like some manuals do. But you can basically figure it out, and you can see all the great flexibility and poses that you can get with with this figure. And just real quick, I'll get into the accessories. It comes with this little box. I'm not sure exactly what. I mean, I just use it as a accessory holder. As you can see, it comes with extra hands here. Let me zoom in on that. We can get a closer shot on that. There we go. It's very simple. The iron or the armor right there, and there we go. And the other hand doesn't have the armor around it because it has the armor already attached on the figures piece, or the figure's arm. I was using this as a little standing box at one point. Doesn't, you can, I guess, doesn't really make a big deal. Kind of just leave that next to the figure. And then the two hands that are on the figure right now do come unattach, and the flame piece right here also detaches from the arm, or from the forearm. So let's get right into this figure's articulation. As you can see, it's on this little stand too, so that helps a lot with the posing. It can be a little bit hard to pose, but when you just have to play around with it. The head, here we go. It's kind of a little bit awkward because it can never really stay straight. Sorry about that. Get that back in the frame. The head never really stays straight. It's always tilted like this. So even if you turn it, even if you kind of bend it, it doesn't. But you can bend it back a little bit. The arm just on the joint, and then ratchet joints to go in and out. The forearm moves, the hands move as well, and same with the other side, you know, the ratchet joint here. Oh, and that just popped off, sorry about that. There we go, that way. Now underneath each arm there's this little slot that comes out too. This is where you actually attach the flame accessory, but there's only one flame accessory, which is not really disappointing, but you know, you would think they'd give you two for putting this feature on both. So you can just have it out or in, doesn't really make too much of a difference. The upper body, you know, turns, goes back and forth a little bit, kind of hindered from the back here. The leg at the thigh is just a simple joint, you know, goes in and out a little bit. Again, no ratchet joints at the knees or the thigh, but there is a ratchet joint here at the ankle. If I can just get that, doesn't move too much, but you know, a few poses here and there. And you know, that's about it for the articulation. And then right here too, actually, let me get into that. It's a little slot that pops up with the rocket. This is a real pain in the ass. You need like a toothpick to make this pop out, but even with that, it doesn't really pop out that much. I mean, from here you can kind of see it, but it doesn't really stand out for it to look like it's ready to fire. So that's a little bit disappointing. And then here also, for whatever reason, this flame, it attaches perfect to this arm. But when I attach it to the other arm, it just kind of falls off. It doesn't want to stay, it just feels loose. I mean, like, it's just, you know, it'll eventually fall off like that. But then I put it on this one. Oh, if I can make sure I hold that in. Come on. There we go. See, it doesn't really, oh, it's not even all the way in and it's still staying. There we go. Like, it doesn't really fall off. You know, it's pretty sturdy. So that's kind of, you know, the only disappointing thing about that, because you see the, I guess, gas tank on this arm, you don't see one on this arm. So it just makes more sense. You have the flame on this one, you have the rocket on this one. But, you know, it works all well. You can have the flame and rocket double attack mode right there. Overall, you know, the posing, like I said, it's a little bit hard. The stand really makes a difference in that. If you can just find the peg hole right there. There we go. And even then, sometimes, you know, it can be a little bit difficult. It's a little bit back heavy. So let's get right into the detail also. You know, just a fantastic job with the paint. Very, very screen accurate. Like I said, this is basically a Hot Toys figure, a 1/6 scale figure, brought down to the normal 6-inch action figure size. You can see all the markings, like similar in the movie, all the different numbers and from the parts he uses that you can find. There are the legs, you know, all the different armors, the scrapes, the marks, everything. There you can see the gas tank and the arc reactor in his chest. For some of you wondering, you don't really see any face in here. It's, I guess, just a generic, if you can see that. Can't really, I mean, it looks like, let me try to look at that too. It doesn't really look like there's a face in there at all. Just, you know, a normal ball or a head to put the mask on or the helmet on. Turning it around here. Get that to stay. See the flame. The flame is really cool. You know, one of the most realistic in terms of, you know, these figures accessories that I've seen around. And you can see down here too the belts and the whistles and screws, everything going in. And on the back you can see Stark Ind, or IND for Stark Industry, you know, showing how he's using his old parts and whatever he can find. All the different tools and motors here. Let me get closer on that. I mean, just really cool, really huge detail on this, and this little flap right here. It's kind of rubbery, so you can kind of move it around, but you know, doesn't really pose. Still, just really amazing what they were able to accomplish in such a small figure with so much detail. Here's a closer look at this side. And the arm. So, you know, I'm very happy, you know, I'm starting to get into more imported figures and whatnot, and just really happy with how Revoltech is able to capture so much in such a small figure. I mean, you don't see this much detail in even larger figures sometimes. So it really makes you wonder, is it really the price that some companies are worried about? As you can see, with the new Black Series, how much detail they are putting. Granted, not a lot of them have this much detail. And again, this is really the only Iron Man armor with so much little parts and whistles and tools that go into it. So for this, I would have been happy to pay a little bit extra money, and I'm very happy with this piece. So thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next video.